What's up, former family? How y'all doing today? Today, we're going to be talking about the evolution of the R2 series from Ronbus. Okay, there's three different R2s right now. There's the R2 .16, there's the R2 Nova, and then there's the Pulsar FX R2. All three of them have very different characteristics and how they feel, so I'm going to be going into each of those. I'm going to also pop up the specs beside of me right here. I'm also going to be posting up the twist weight, the swing weight, and the overall static weight of all three of these paddles that I've tested. I do have a discount code for them. It's FarmerPB. You will get $20 off of your order if you use my discount code. I do get a kickback from that. I always let you guys know that. I know it's getting really, really annoying. I'll stop it at some point. But yeah, let's get into all three of these paddles and who I think they're for. The first paddle I want to talk about is the R2 .16. Okay, this was one of the very first paddles that Ronbus made. When I first started my YouTube channel, this was one of the paddles that I reviewed. Like, it was completely unique. The shape was really, really weird. I was just very, very excited to get the paddle in my hand and play with it. And when I watched my review of it, and some of the stuff that I said, I still agree with. But with how paddles have progressed and gotten more and more powerful, some stuff has changed in that review. Like, overall, that paddle is a 150% control paddle. It is straight control. It has hardly any power whatsoever compared to most of the stuff on the market. This paddle would be for a beginner or someone who is moving up from an Amazon paddle that doesn't really know how to control themselves yet. Now, if you're anywhere from an intermediate up, I wouldn't get this paddle. I would pass on this. I would wait for one of the next two paddles. But if you're someone that's in the 2.5 to 3.0 range, or you're someone that has been playing for just a couple of months and needs something with spin because the Amazon paddles just ain't cutting it, then this is going to be a really good paddle. It's really light to swing. It's got a decent sized sweet spot, so there's not going to be any complaints. But this is the first shape that Ronbus made for their R2 series. Now, the reason I decided to do the Evolution series is because it's going to evolve from this. This isn't the same paddle that you're going to hear me talk about in the FX. But yeah, let's get into the R2 Nova next. Okay, when they dropped the Nova series was essentially a fix to regular Gen 2 thermoforming. They had the R1 Pulsar and the R3 Pulsar. They never dropped the R2 Pulsar. They came out with this grid technology that, supposedly stops core crushing, which I haven't heard many people complaining about it with the new Ronbus paddles. But I don't think they saw a point in coming back and dropping a regular R2 Pulsar when this literally fixes the problems of core crushing that the regular Pulsars and the other Gen 2s had. Now, when it comes to playability, this paddle plays very, very similar to the Volair Mach 2 Forza and the Pickle Hurricane Tower Pro. What you're going to notice is with each of these paddles, the control gets a little bit less and the pop of the power gets a little bit more. So, and if you look at the actual look of this paddle, it looks way different than the R2 .16. This is where it evolved into a different style shape. Back when it did the R2 16, it had a short handle. It was more of a ping pong style shape. This is more of a standard, shaped wide body, and it has a longer handle since two-hand backhands and stuff are starting to become more prevalent. So, in terms of feel and stuff, I would put it very close to the Mach 2 Forza and the Pickle Hurricane Tower Pro. But overall, this one is a good paddle for people that are intermediate going up to the advanced range that still can't control a little bit poppier of a paddle. Not saying any of these three paddles by Ronbus are poppy by any means, but the progression, it does get more poppier as you go up. Now, this is the one. I love this paddle. Straight up. Love this paddle. My #1 paddle on my top 10 video. You guys can check that out. The Ronbus R2 FX. Okay, they essentially took the R2 Nova, or the R1 Nova and the R3 Nova, since the R2 wasn't available at the time, and they took the gridding system and they put it under the face of the whole paddle this time, instead of it just being the edge guard. Now, what this has done is it's added a little bit extra pop compared to the Nova series, and added a lot more power than the Nova series. If you switch between the two, you're going to be able to tell the difference between the Nova and the R2 Pulsar FX plow through and the amount of power you're getting. I also like the way the paddle feels. It's not like overly poppy or anything like that. It's more in the middle of a road in terms of wide bodies, in terms of pop. But that's kind of the kind of paddles I like. I like well-balanced paddles, which is the Ronbus R2 FX. I feel like wide bodies tend to not get enough power, and the extra little bit of swing weight this one has adds for the plow through. I don't think there's anything I would change about it, to be honest. I've sit here and thought, like, what would I do? I don't know. It plays so good in my hand. I literally walk out and play with it, and it feels like I've been playing with this paddle my whole entire life. And that's how a paddle should feel. When you play with the paddle, it should feel like it's part of you or like you've been playing with it for a very long time. Obviously, a new paddle is going to take some time to get used to. But yeah, this has been the evolution of the R2 series. As you can tell, it went from control to a little bit more poppy to more poppy. But it's still not anything crazy or anything like that you can't control. So realistically, all these Ronbus paddles could theoretically be used by beginners, intermediates, and advanced. It's just advanced players are probably going to stay away from the R2.16 since most of them have two-handed backhands and want a little bit more power. But yeah, Ronbus has something for everybody. They have 3 different shapes. I really hope they start making their R1 series being a hybrid. Please, Dong. Please, we need a hybrid shape. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope it sort of helped you decide which one of these Ronbus paddles you need. I forgot to mention the prices of them completely. The R2.16 is $100. The R2 Nova is $180. And if I remember correctly, the R2 Pulsar FX is also $180. And if I'm wrong, I will have to go back and edit this after the fact. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this. Till next time, stay safe. Have a good day. Drink plenty of water. Peace, y'all.